Creativity's role. There are many different definitions of creativity. Of course, as seen on the screen, there is the dictionary definition. As individuals, we can have our own understanding, beliefs, or ideas about what creativity is exactly. There are also many different theories regarding creativity. We studied Ruth Beechick's idea of creativity. She explains in our textbook, A Biblical Psychology of Learning, that many people feel that the heart plays a role in how creative a person may or may not be. She questions, are some people born with more creativity than others, or is it within us to strive for better creativity? In my own opinion, I feel that we all are creative in our own way. Some, yes, are more artistic than others. Some are more athletic than others. And some may cook better than others. All of which are unique versions of creativity. All of us have something inside of us that can be made into something creative, but it does take the motivation to want to strive to work for that certain something, and not everyone seems to have equal motivation. A study done by Alex Schlegel, a cognitive neuroscientist, and his colleagues, who asked participants to imagine certain shapes and sometimes manipulate them by combining the shapes with other shapes or mentally breaking the shapes apart. While asking participants to imagine the shapes, they would have the participants in an MRI scanner to measure their brain activity during the task. The scan showed that a broad network of brain areas were involved in the imagination task, and they appeared to be working as a team, not just one specific area. In particular, manipulating the images involved a network of 4 core brain areas: the occipital cortex, the posterior parietal, the posterior precuneus, and the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which are all involved in visual processing, attention, and executive functions of the brain. Previous studies suggest that the brain's visual processing areas are also involved in creating imagery. More recent studies looked at not only how the brain forms images, but also how it modifies them. The common understanding of creativity solely using the right side of the brain is being researched further and being proven false in most cases, as the result of many studies show that multiple parts of the brain on both sides are actually part of the creative process within the brain. There are 3 large-scale networks that are critical to understanding the neuroscience of creativity. Network 1 is the executive attention network. This network is recruited when a task requires that the spotlight of attention is focused like a laser beam, when you are concentrating on a challenging lecture or engaging in complex problem solving. Network 2, the imagination network. This is involved in constructing dynamic mental simulations based on personal past experiences, such as used during remembering. Network 3, the salience network. This monitors both external and internal streams of consciousness and flexibly passes the baton to whatever information is most salient in solving the task at hand. Creativity in the classroom. This can sometimes be a challenge for teachers as we face different types of students daily. Some students may focus their creativity on an assignment in the proper manner, while others require more effort and encouragement. But given the right tools and opportunity, these students can accomplish the same goal and task as the student who immediately focuses his creativity properly. Divergent thinking. If we can express to our students how their minds work, they may have a better understanding of how to complete a creative task. Let's look at the Genipler model. This model is broken down into 2 distinct phases. The first phase is the generative phase, where lots of thoughts or concepts are spawned. The second phase is the explorative or elaboration phase, where the ideas generated from the first phase are expanded and explored further. The space between the generative and the exploratory phases is where many people form their creative block. Many tend to move to the exploratory phase too quickly and not spend enough time at the generative phase, and then have too few ideas to actually explore and must move back to the generative phase to develop more ideas or sources to work with. Knowing this can be helpful when facing a creative block. There are strategies that can be used in the classroom to improve or increase creativity from our students. Reversing the question and answer paradigm. Instead of asking questions and seeking a correct answer, students may form the questions on what they want to learn about a subject and may do the research to find the answer. Music. Many studies have shown that having music playing in the background of a class can and usually does increase creativity. This is even more so when the student requests the music, classroom appropriate of course. Trial and error. Instead of penalizing students for incorrect answers, let them use this information as a reflection and framework to find the correct answer. When this is done, students are likely to loosen in efforts and be less afraid of making mistakes, but will attain more knowledge in the long run. And lastly, using art. Collages, scrapbook pages, sketches, any of these and many more can be used in every single core subject in education and should be utilized as often as possible. This breaks the monotony for the student as well as allows them to express their creative side. And that concludes this presentation on creativity. Thank you.